You can explain compound interest better than most finance professors. You know about index funds, dollar cost averaging, tax advantage accounts, and you still check your bank balance with a knot in your stomach. That gap between what you know and how you feel about money is doing more financial damage than any lack of education ever could. Most people assume the problem is information. Learn more, earn more. But there's a growing body of research in behavioral economics that points somewhere uncomfortable. Your relationship with money operates on a belief layer that sits underneath your knowledge, and that layer is running the show. You can memorize every Warren Buffett quote ever printed and still flinch when it's time to invest $1,000. The flinch is the tell. Think about the last time you moved money into an investment account. The math was clear. The historical returns were on your side. Decades of data said this was the rational move, and yet something in your chest tightened. Maybe you transferred less than you planned. Maybe you hesitated for 3 days. Maybe you opened the app, typed in the number, and closed it without hitting confirm. That hesitation has a cost, and it compounds just like interest does, except in the wrong direction. Behavioral economists call this the intention-action gap. You intend to invest, you understand why. The action stalls anyway. And the usual explanation, people are lazy, people lack discipline, misses what's actually happening beneath the surface. Your earliest money memories are shaping decisions you're making this week. A researcher at Cambridge found that core financial habits form by age 7. Before you understood percentages, before you could spell compound, your brain had already built a template for what money means. If you grew up hearing, "we can't afford that," as background noise, your template says scarcity. If money conversations in your house came with tension, raised voices, or silence that felt heavier than shouting, your template says danger. Knowledge gets layered on top of that template later, but the template came first, and it runs deeper, so you end up in this bizarre split. The spreadsheet part of your brain knows that putting $500 a month into a broad market index fund for 30 years, at historical average returns, builds something north of $800,000. The template part of your brain hears $500 leaving your account and sounds an alarm that has nothing to do with math. The alarm wins more often than the spreadsheet. Almost every time, actually. A financial therapist named Brad Klontz developed a framework around what he calls money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money that drive behavior. They fall into patterns. Money avoidance, the belief that money is bad, that rich people are corrupt, that you don't deserve wealth. Money worship, the belief that more money will solve everything, which paradoxically creates chronic dissatisfaction with whatever you have. Money status, tying your self-worth to your net worth. Money vigilance, excessive anxiety about finances, even when the numbers are healthy. Each script produces a specific flavor of self-sabotage. The person running a money avoidance script will unconsciously find ways to get rid of money as fast as it arrives. Unexpected bonus, suddenly, there's an urgent expense. Tax refund? Gone within a week to something they can barely remember buying a month later. The spending feels impulsive. It's strategic, just operated by a part of the brain that equates holding wealth with being a bad person. The person running money vigilance looks responsible from the outside. They budget meticulously, track every dollar, and still feel broke at $150,000 a year. Their account balances are healthy. Their experience of those balances is pure anxiety. They hoard cash in savings accounts, earning almost nothing because moving it into investments feels like losing control. The knowledge is all there. The belief system vetoes every rational move. So, what breaks the pattern? Research points to something counterintuitive. Information doesn't update money scripts. Experience does. Specifically, small financial experiences that contradict the script, and where nothing bad happens. A person who believes investing is gambling needs to invest $50 and watch it for 6 months. The amount has to be small enough that the alarm system stays quiet. The point is to give the template new data. You invested, the world continued, your rent got paid, the $50 became $53 or $47, and either way you survived. That's a data point the belief system can actually absorb because it came through experience rather than a textbook. Klontz found in clinical work that clients who journaled about their earliest money memories, the specific scenes, the emotions, the people involved, began to separate their childhood template from their adult reality. The exercise sounds almost too simple. Writing down "I was 9" and my parents were fighting about the electric bill, and I decided money destroys families, creates a strange distance between the child who formed that conclusion and the adult holding the pen. The belief loses some of its invisibility. Once you can see the script, it stops looking like truth and starts looking like a decision a scared kid made with incomplete information. There's a study from the National Endowment for Financial Education that found financial literacy programs alone change behavior in only about 1% of cases. 1%. Billions of dollars spent on teaching people what compound interest is, and the behavioral needle barely moves. The programs that do work, the ones showing measurable changes in saving and investing behavior, combine education with psychological interventions. They address the belief layer alongside the knowledge layer. Critics raise a fair point. Some people genuinely lack the income to invest, and framing their situation as a belief problem is tone-deaf at best. They're right. Below a certain income threshold, the constraint is material and real. No amount of mindset work puts food on the table when the paycheck doesn't cover rent. But that's a different population than the one we're talking about. The person earning $70, $90, $120,000 a year who understands investing cold and still has $400 in a brokerage account, that gap between means and action points somewhere other than income. The compound effect of belief runs parallel to the compound effect of interest. Every month you delay investing because of an unconscious script, the future cost grows exponentially. A single year of delay at age 30 costs roughly $70,000 in retirement wealth at historical market returns. 5 years of delay, and you've left something like $350,000 on a timeline that never gets those years back. The math is brutal precisely because compound growth curves are exponential. The early years matter more than the later ones, and those are exactly the years most likely to be eaten by unexamined money scripts. Your brain has a financial thermostat, just like a thermostat in a house. It has a set point, a dollar amount it considers normal for you. Earn above the set point, and you'll find ways to bring it back down. Unexpected spending appears, lifestyle inflates. Opportunities to invest get indefinitely postponed. Earn below the set point, and you hustle harder, take extra shifts, find a side project. The thermostat always wins over the long run, and it's calibrated by beliefs formed before you could do long division. Resetting that thermostat requires something specific: proximity to people who operate at a different set point. Your financial behavior is heavily influenced by the 5 or 6 people you spend the most time around. If everyone in your circle treats investing as something other people do, that belief reinforces itself through 1,000 small social cues. The jokes about the stock market, the eye rolls about retirement accounts, the unspoken agreement that talking about building wealth is somehow distasteful. Moving into rooms where investing is normal, where building wealth is discussed the way you'd discuss a home renovation, practically, openly, without moral weight, recalibrates the thermostat faster than any book. The belief absorbs through osmosis, through watching someone your age casually mention their index fund the way you'd mention your grocery list. Casual signals land where lectures bounce off. You already have the knowledge. You've had it for years. The spreadsheet is done. The calculator has been run, and somewhere between knowing the answer and executing it, a 7-year-old version of you is still making the call. The question worth sitting with is this: what did money mean in the room where you grew up? And how much of that meaning are you still carrying into every financial decision you make today?